walk through how to assemble your awning, your Bahama awning, from start to finish for a 3 and 4 foot size, or 3 and 4 foot width awning frame. So right now we're going to walk through the piece that you should have received in your box whenever it was delivered to your address, including all the different pieces of hardware, all the different sheet screws, and nuts and bolts that you will need to assemble your frame. So right now in front of me I have not the fully assembled awning, but just at least all the main components you will be needing to assemble this. And so in your box you should receive all these slats, all these louver frames, everything disassembled, and this is what, at least one of the intermediary steps, will look like before you have it fully assembled. So we'll begin by walking through some of the components that you should have received, which includes 4 mounting brackets, 2 for your frame, 2 for your wall, sheet screws, all the screws necessary to assemble the frame, as well as attach the brackets to the back or your top bar of your awning. These 2 will be attached to your top bar. And again, this is all in the instructions. You can take a look in here. Once you find it, you'll be able to open it up on page 4 of your manual. You'll be able to go through and see all the parts that you need. And should all be presented here in front of you. That includes even the braces, bolts, screws. It should be a note that you may not be using the same hardware for mounting your wall mounts to your wall. There could be brick, stone, stucco. So what we provide here is just very basic mounting hardware. So it may not be applicable to your mounting surface. That should be just a quick call out. In addition, stuff that you will need personally is when you're trying to mount this onto your frame or mount this onto your home, will be some measuring tape, as well as a rubber mallet to hammer in some of these components to build out the frame, and a drill. An automatic drill will be the most helpful in this case. Additionally, you'll also see the projection arms and the mill support bar, as well as their respective connectors. So basically this is the entire setup that you'll be needing. And again, you'll be receiving all these pieces will come in 2 boxes with your awning. And so we'll go and step right into building this out. So we'll walk through step 1 of assembling your frame. We've gone ahead and shifted off the metal slats to the side. We're not going to be using them for purposes of this demonstration. So right now what we have in front of us is and we're going to imagine from the perspective that I am the wall of your home, and this is your front bar. So this is the side that is facing closest to the ground, and this is the side that's facing closest to the wall that's attached directly to the wall. So right here you have the left frame, the right frame, the front bar, and the top bar. And the way you can tell the difference between the top and the front bar, because they all relatively the same, is if you look at the bottom of each one of these pieces, you'll see that the top bar has 2 holes for the mounting brackets to be installed. So that is the best way to signal that, okay, I have a top bar in front of me. And then for the front bar, flip it over, you'll see that there's nothing on the underside of it. So whether on the top or bottom, you're not going to see any pre-drilled holes into the front bar. So I'm going to flip the front bar, we'll flip the top bar back over. And what we're going to do is we're going to assemble 3/4 of the frame. The left, the right, and the top bar are all going to be fastened together. And that'll be done through the use of L connectors. So we already have the L connectors knocked in place. Again, we use the rubber mallet to put these in their places. And so now we're going to go ahead and start installing the L connectors to the respective left and right frames. So you can use, because we've already knocked these into place, it's a lot easier to slide them in, but it's most likely that you'll have to start using a mallet to get these in. I'm going to connect these up. And again, a reminder, you're going to make sure that you're looking at this and that there's no holes on the top. They're going to be on the underside of your top bar. Now that you have the 3/4 frame completely assembled, you're going to go ahead and start using the middle support bracket. This middle support insert is going to go ahead, there's a pre-drilled hole on the underside of the middle support insert. That's going to line up perfectly with the pre-drilled hole on the top bar. And make sure those line up and begin drilling into it. So we can go ahead and demonstrate that. I'm going to have this face up. Just place the middle support insert right there. I'm going to start drilling using one of the sheet screws. This is the sheet screw that we'll be using for it. Make sure it's all lined up appropriately. There you go. we're gonna do the same on the left and right frame. And again, there will be 2 pre-drilled holes. One right here on the right frame to connect onto the L connector, and on the opposite side as well, you'll see the same thing. And on the left frame. So you want to make sure you drill into each one of those to all 4 touch points. Once you've completed with step 1, which is just assembling the 3/4 frame, you're going to go ahead and move on to now installing your middle support into the middle support insert that you've already installed. You want to make sure after you've installed the middle support insert that the 2 prongs are now on top and bottom facing outwards. Okay. So the reason why is because we have pre-drilled holes on the middle support here and on the other side. So when you drill downward, you're hitting the plastic of the middle support insert to give it that structure and rigidity. So we're gonna go ahead and show it. We're gonna go ahead and insert the middle support. Slides in very evenly, very nicely. You wanna make sure the metal is a little bit under this flap here. So now with a little bit of force, you'll see that this tucks directly into it, onto the very back underneath these 2 lips. So now we're gonna go ahead and start drilling in. Drill downward directly into middle support insert. Okay. You want to flip it over. Do the same thing on the other side. Another sheet screw. Draw on the other side. Okay. And that is step 2 of building out a 3/4 frame. So right now we're going to walk through step 3, which is assembling your shutter slats to your louver frames, while also using the shutter slat braces. And so for the purpose of this video, I'm just going to start calling them left and right braces, but they are in your manual noted as the shutter slat braces. So right here, you're going to receive 2 bags. You'll receive 2 bags, one with your right shutter slat braces or your right braces, and another bag with your left braces. And so this is important because whenever you're looking at your Bahama awning and specifically the shutter slats going into the louver frames, you'll see that specific sizes or specific orientation of the braces are important here. And we're going to want to go in and demonstrate how these braces are installed into your louver frames once you insert your shutter slats. So right now we have a majority of the shutter slats installed into the louver frame. We're going to walk through how to just add 2 more of them for this demonstration for you guys. And so again, right now orientation is when you're looking at this is going to be installed where the top bar on the wall, the top bar is right here, and the shutter slats are facing downward. So this will be the right side of your Bahama shutter slats. And that's why we are calling these the right braces, because they stick in directly into the right side of the louver frame. So let's go and walk through how to get these installed into the louver frame. But you'll see once you actually have all of these braces, the right braces installed, these can actually dangle pretty freely and not actually be popped out or move out. And that's a good sign. That's how you know you've actually installed it appropriately. So we'll go ahead and knock one of these slats into the louver frame. And you'll see sometimes it gets a little sticky. It's a little hard to get in there. And so that's why we recommend having the rubber mallet and just gently tapping on the louver frame to knock it into place. And I say gentle because you don't want to bend any of these components. It is light aluminum, light but sturdy aluminum. And so now that we've now installed the shutter slat into the louver frame, we're going to go ahead and grab our right brace because again, this is the right louver frame. Grab our right brace. We're going to stick it in, and again, follow this orientation very carefully. You'll see the bottom of the slats have this little groove that faces downward towards your wall. You go ahead and insert it down. You want to make sure the long leg sticks out. You're just going to push that in like that. And you'll see that the right leg here is going to lay flat against this flat surface, and you're not going to have any of the braces touch up against these little I call them grooves or these channels. So that is how you'll install the right brace. And the same thing on the left side. So I'm going to throw in the next one. And again, it's a little bit sticky, but this one slides in a little bit better. You want to see that clear opening in the shutter slat so you can install the brace. I'm going to do the next brace. Install that in. And again, just going to push this long leg down. And now that'll keep it solid. If you want to just make sure, you can just push down these little legs. And again, they should move and they won't pop out. It's a good solution here. So now that you've got all the braces installed into your shutter slats, I'm going to lay this down. Now you can go ahead and move forward with installing the other side of your louver frame. So again, you want to make sure the orientation is appropriate. You're going to go ahead and pop in each one of these shutter slats into the louver frame, and then you're going to use the left side, the left brace. So I'll just show a demonstration of just 1 or 2 slats just to give you an idea. So we'll go ahead and just pop this one in, for example. Well, it's not going to work. We'll pop this one in. Okay. And this will be for the left side. Just like that. And again, you want to make sure you have your left and right braces set aside in different piles. That way you can make sure that you're installing the braces on the correct side. And again, the left side is oriented by, if you're looking at your shutter awning, if it's facing downward from your top bar going towards your front bar, left, right. Right braces for the right side of the louver, left braces for the left side of the louver. Now we're going to walk through step 4 of assembling your Bahama awning. Before we get started, you want to make sure, before you even start inserting these shutters, you want to make sure that your 3/4 frame is set appropriately. And what I mean by that is you want to make sure that the mounting holes, the pre-drilled mounting holes, are assembled or are oriented so that they're on the bottom of the awning. So you'll see on the bottom, I can feel them right now with my fingers, you can feel the pre-drilled holes are on the bottom of the top bar. And as for orientation, again, the top bar is going to be closest to the wall with the mounting holes on the bottom of the awning, pre-drilled mounting holes on the bottom of the awning. And the shutter slats are going to be facing downward. The slats will be pointing downward towards the front bar. So if you imagine it, if rain's coming down, you want to have them slide down the awning with these shutter slat orientations going towards the front bar. So we've already gone ahead and inserted one, or in this case, the left shutter slat set. And now we're going to go ahead and start inserting the right shutter slat set. So the best way to do this, in our opinion, is to go ahead and start inserting this by spreading the left frame and the middle support outwards to go ahead and just start fitting it in. You want to make sure there are 2 lips of the left and right frame. You can see them here and here. They make kind of like an I-beam, where there's a lip that comes out on the top and a lip comes out on the bottom. You want to make sure that these slats fit right into those grooves. Okay, so I got the first one in. Now I'm going to go ahead and try fitting in on the opposite side. And this will likely need 2 people to do it. I'm going to try just do it by myself. There we go. Got both in. This one, I have to finagle a little bit just to get back out. So it's in between those 2 lips. It's definitely doable. There we go. So now that they're in, make sure to follow all the way through the back of the top bar. So now we're going to move on to step 5, which is finishing the installation of the frame using the front bar. And so what I have in front of me right now is the front bar is going to be orientated this way to insert into the bottom half or the bottom section of your awning. And so what you'll be needing in this case is going to have your 2 L connectors to be plugged into the left and right frames, and you'll need your middle support connector. And again, this middle support connector, you're going to have it so that when you do install it into the pre-drilled hole, you're going to have the 2 prongs facing upward, so when they're oriented like this, they get plugged in, and you'll be drilling down into the plastic of the middle support insert. So we're going to go ahead, and again, just to preface, with the front bar, there are no pre-drilled holes in it. That's only your top bar. You should not see any holes outside of the one that's supposed to be housing the middle support inserts. So again, you should have no holes on any side of this piece other than the insert. And again, I do apologize, there is actually 2 other holes on the left and right side of your front bar. But again, this is just for the L connectors when they plug into the left and right frames. Okay? But but no pre-drilled mounting holes. So I'm gonna go ahead and start screwing in the middle support insert. Make sure you get it right down the middle. Okay. That's perfect. Get it lined up. We need to make sure that your L connectors are snug. On this side, it's not. So I'm gonna go ahead and hammer this in using rubber mallet. So now that is lined up, I'm gonna go ahead and plug these in to the left and right frames. And again, keep using that rubber mallet to get these plugged in. Make sure everything connects up. To the 3 different touch points. Go ahead and start immersing these in now. So what I just done is I went ahead and installed both sides, hammered them with rubber mallet, make sure everything was secure, and now I'm going to start drilling in the 3 different points. Here, or I guess there are 2 sides, so you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and another pre-drilled hole at the bottom of this middle support. Okay, so it's a total of 6 holes that will need to be drilled. So now we're going to move on to step 6, which is installing your shutter sets to your already assembled frame from steps 1 through 4. To do so, we have a set of sheet screws, which you've already seen and already opened, to assemble the frame itself. And on the shutter sets themselves, you have 2 louver frames, which we walked through already. And on each louver frame, there are a series of holes. And there are 3 holes, 3 pre-drilled holes on each louver frame, which we have identified here, here, and here. These are all pre-drilled. It should be noted that the left and right frames do not have pre-drilled holes in them. So when you are installing the sheet screws into louver frames, you are going through a hole into aluminum, which is why we provided these specific screws. These sheet screws are meant to cut through aluminum. So as you are installing these, you will have no problem. And to mention again, the left and right frame and the middle support does not have pre-drilled holes either. And so you will be again installing it directly into aluminum. Again, so there's 3 pre-drilled holes here, 3 pre-drilled holes on the right louver frame for the left shutter set, and same thing here. And so you'll have a total of 3, 3, 3, 3, a total of 12 holes to drill your shutter sets into the awning frame. And so that's what we recommend, is just to start by using those sheet screws, drill into the sets. You want to make sure that your shutter sets are lined up evenly, that they're all in line with each other. Otherwise, you don't want to have any kind of, your shutter sets down here, your shutter sets up here. And make sure they're all evenly spaced, all evenly lined up, and then you can start to begin to drill these and fasten to your awning frame. So step 7 is now walking you all through how to go about assembling the frame, brackets, and projection bars to the back of your awning. You have 4 sets of brackets that are identical, 2 of which are for the frame, the back of the frame, which we'll be walking through in this step, and the other 2 are for the wall itself. And so at the end of this video, you should see that these projection bars will be secured to these brackets, so with the bolt to be going through all the pre-drilled holes. So let's go ahead and get the awning set up for these brackets. So again, this is the completed frame. We're gonna go ahead and flip it over to the back side of the awning. And you'll see a series of holes, pre-drilled holes, the same ones which we've identified already. So now with this final screw, we now have our brackets mounted firmly. We're we're gonna go ahead and start mounting the projection bars onto the awnings themselves. So one thing to keep note of is you wanna make sure the Awntech logo is facing outwards. And so we're actually keeping on this side so it's right side up. So the way this will be set up is that the hinge, this will be your wall right here. And this Awntech logo will be facing outward. Okay? So we're gonna use the bolts provided, the bolts and nuts, to fasten them to your mounting brackets. So you're gonna feed these through the pre-drilled holes. We're gonna go ahead and screw these in. And you can use a socket and wrench to go ahead and tighten it up to get the proper fittings. Do the same on this side as well. Tighten this up. And there you have it. The projection arms are now installed. And again, just to give you added security, you want to make sure that you do tighten these up appropriately to give you proper security, but still allow room for it to hinge on the awning. So in the following video, you'll find that we used these specific screws to drill our mounting hardware onto our frame, specifically our mounting brackets and our top bar bracket. We have instead included in our newest packaging these specific screws shown here. We recommend using these as the threading is the same as the inserts into our frame. So make sure that you are using these screws as opposed to these screws which are meant to be drilled into any kind of wood surfaces or for mounting to studs. So steps 1 through 7 walked us through building out the projection arms, building out the frames, getting everything ready, so now we can start installing the top bar brackets in the awning. And you'll note again that the top bar bracket the top bar should have on the underside the 4 mounting holes to correspond with your top bar brackets, shown here. Okay, and you'll be using the 4 screws that we had used to install the projection arm brackets to the frame. We're going to use the same type of screws to now install the top bar brackets to the top bar. And the way you're going to want to do this is that the smaller piece shown here, the smaller part of the hinge, this will be fastened to your top bar, whereas this larger flap will be the one that's being installed to your mounting surface or your wall. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start drilling in these holes. That's the first one. We'll walk in the second one now. So the last part of the assembly is getting on the projection arms, getting the wall brackets onto the projection arms. You see here, same as when we installed it onto the frame itself, there'll be a similar series of holes on the projection arm to now fasten the bracket onto it. We also supply another bolt and nut to feed through a series of holes to lock these in place. And again, this bracket will be now fastened to your wall, and you'll be using your own mounting hardware to go ahead and run these through. And again, when we are suggesting hardware, we do recommend going with your local hardware store or any professionally recommended sets of hardware to mount it to your specific surface, whether it be brick, stone, stucco, or concrete, or even siding. And so anytime you are going to get references from a professional, make sure you are getting the right hardware to meet these specific needs of getting this wall bracket installed in. Same with the top bar bracket. You want to make sure that you are contacting the right person to get some professional recommendation for a specific hardware or specific mounting surface. We do not provide any mounting surface with our mounting hardware with our awnings. So I'll go ahead and lock in the last projection arm wall bracket. Feed this through. There you have it. And again, you might want to use some ratchet or socket to go ahead and tighten these up You want to make sure all of your hardware is tightened up and fastened to your awning. That way it limits any kind of risk of damage or any kind of falling apart. So yeah, that's it. So this is the back side of the fully assembled Bahama frame. You'll see that there's a series of holes in the back side. You want to make sure they're oriented in this manner. Okay. And for the left and right frames, you want to make sure that the holes are the furthest away from the top bar. This being the top bar that I'm holding in my hands right now. So this is the proper orientation for the back side of your Bahama awning once fully assembled.